We all know that Pascal Siakam got benched against the New York Knicks for disciplinary reasons, but how will Pascal Siakam bounce back after this reality check administered by Nick Nurse? What can we expect from him for the rest of the season, and especially tonight against the New Orleans Pelicans? Let's get into it. Welcome to Amateur Hour Sports, where we give you NBA content with a focus on the Toronto Raptors at least 4 days a week. Right now, we don't really have that schedule going because with everything going on, with the Raptors playing on various days, we can't stick to that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, but I assure you, you get 4 videos a week concerning the Toronto Raptors on this channel. So if it is your first time here with me today and you like what you see, you want more of myself talking about the Toronto Raptors in videos just like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Show your support, join the movement of the channel as we get closer to 1,500 subscribers on the channel. Very excited to hit that milestone. But today, again, we are talking about Pascal Siakam getting benched against the New York Knicks. If you watched the Raptors roundup from yesterday, you saw I talked briefly about Pascal Siakam getting benched, what it meant for the team, what it meant for him. But I decided to go in a little bit more detail today, less so on Pascal Siakam getting benched against the New York Knicks, and more so on how this is going to affect Pascal Siakam and the rest of the team over the course of this season. So just touch briefly, firstly, on the benching. So Pascal Siakam in the game against the Philadelphia 76ers gets 5 fouls in the last 7 minutes of the game. Lots of those fouls were petty fouls, off-ball fouls that did not need to happen. And fouls out with about 30 seconds left in a game where he only had 2 points in the fourth quarter. So, an obviously frustrated Siakam storms off the court, goes to the change room with 30 seconds left. While there's still a game going on, and it is still, I think, a 2-possession game at that point. So there's still a game where the Raptors are heavily involved going on, and he walks out on his guys. Obviously, he was frustrated, but for a team that prides themselves off, chemistry and being this good set of teammates, this good unit of players, that is not okay. And Nick Nurse, he decided that the best course of action would be to discipline Pascal Siakam. And the best way to discipline an athlete in any sport is to hurt their playtime. Now, you can find them, you can do whatever, but the best way to reach them on a topic is through their playtime. So Nick Nurse does just that, benches him for the entire game against the New York Knicks. In fact, Pascal Siakam didn't even suit up in his uniform for that game. Now, I was livid after that Philadelphia game for Pascal Siakam walking off, so I'm glad that the Toronto Raptors coaching staff has also recognized this and taken this course of action. Now, the popular opinion based on the Raptors roundup against the New York Knicks is that this was the right call from Nick Nurse, and I am in full agreement with this decision to bench Pascal Siakam. You don't walk out on your teammates ever. Like, this is a unit. You are not above anybody on this team. Pascal Siakam, obviously the most talented player on this Toronto Raptors team, but nobody is above the collective of players on this team. And Pascal Siakam certainly got that reality and ego check when he got benched against the Knicks. Now, this was a gutty decision by Nick Nurse because the Toronto Raptors, who were already 0-3 on the season, really needed that victory over the Knicks. And if they had slipped to 0-4 because they had decided not to play their best player in the game, I still would have supported the decision because you really needed to give Pascal Siakam that check. You really need to bring him down a peg after him deciding he was above the team and walking out like that. So Nick Nurse made the complete right call, would have said he made the right call even if they were to have lost that game against the New York Knicks. Now, this is important. How will Pascal Siakam bounce back from this decision? Will he take some time to reflect? I mean, you do a lot of reflecting when the coach decides that you are not playing in the game at all. When you're sitting there on the bench in full street clothes, not featuring at all, you certainly get that check. And you certainly look at yourself and decide, what needs to change. And I'm sure Siakam has been, given that ego check. He understands, the collective is going to be stronger than him as the individual. Obviously he needs to be the best player on this team for them to be the most successful possible. And I'm sure that he recognizes that. And I know that he knows he needs to be better. But after this check, I'm still going to almost guarantee he starts against the New Orleans Pelicans. Even though Norman Powell played great in the game against the New York Knicks, Pascal Siakam is going to be back in the starting lineup against the Pelicans. And what can we expect from him in the game? Now, I think that over the course of this season, Pascal Siakam has been doing a lot of things right. Field goal percentage is really low. Field goal percentage is under 40%, which, for any position isn't great, let alone a big. That is really bad for a big. 3-point percentages are at about 33%, which is okay early goings. That can easily increase throughout the rest of the season, get up to about 35%, which I would be happy with. And his points per game is about 19 points. And I think that needs to be higher as well. I'd like to see him either equal to or more than last season's 23 points per game. But there's some things going right. Like the three ball, he's shooting the three ball pretty well. He's shooting the mid-range shot pretty well. But what he is not doing is getting to the rim and getting the bulk of his points there. For a guy who's, relies on his dribbling and his spin move and getting points to the rim, those shots are not going down. And a lot of the reason is the fact that Pascal Siakam is not going into contact at the rim and drawing fouls. Like, a guy playing in his position who goes to the rim as much as he does needs to be shooting 5 to 6 free throws a game. But Pascal Siakam is only averaging 2 free throws a game. And the reason for that is, when there are guys bunkering down in the paint, waiting for Pascal Siakam to arrive, even if they're going in, swinging, they're hacking, Pascal Siakam tends to go around the contact. And it's very frustrating to watch that because he makes it a tough shot for himself, which he can't hit, and he also does not get the foul. Now, in the game against the Philadelphia 76ers, the mid-range game was working for Siakam, especially on Ben Simmons, was pulling up right over Ben Simmons in mid-range and getting his points, but that is not a sustainable form of basketball. When he was getting to the paint with Simmons, Simmons was going in with some hacks, but Pascal Siakam tried to go around the hack and make a tough shot, which typically he did not. I don't even know if he had many points. I think he had 2 points on the interior for that entire game against the Philadelphia 76ers, despite having, I think, 20 points in that game. So that needs to be fixed. Last season, he averaged 5 free throw attempts per game. I know that can be higher. I think he needs to get up to 6 free throw attempts per game this season. Now, I think a lot of that is on Pascal Siakam for not going in hard at the rim and drawing in the contact, but I think there's also part of it that the Raptors are not spacing the floor as well as they have done in previous years, especially the previous year. Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka were always guys who cleared the paint for the likes of Pascal Siakam to get their points. I think this season, Aaron Baines is spending a little bit too much time on the interior. Baines can shoot the three ball, so I'd like to see him spread out a little bit more, set screens in the perimeter. He does that quite a bit, but I think he needs to do it a bit more to clear space for Pascal Siakam. But that's not really on Baines himself. That's more so on the coaching team to sort that thing out, to recognize Pascal Siakam needs a bit more space in the paint in order to get that bulk of his points. When Chris Boucher's on, he does it a little bit better, but still not quite as much as I would like. And I think with Alex Len, if you can continue to shoot the three ball, I don't think he's going to be 3 for 3 from 3 every game, but Alex Len, if he's in, can also spread the floor to a decent degree. So Pascal Siakam, most of it is on himself, but I think there is a little bit you can say that the Raptors need to do a bit of work in clearing out the paint to allow him an easier look at the bucket. I think that there is a lot of good that is going to come out of this benching because Pascal Siakam gets that reality check that he needs to be part of this team. He is not above the team. And I think that, there's nobody more than Pascal Siakam who understands that he needs to be better. He knows it more than any of us that he needs to improve his game and be the best player on this team because this team is going to have the most success when Pascal Siakam is being the best player on the team. But you also can't force that to happen. It just needs to naturally happen in rhythm. Pascal Siakam is a huge rhythm player, and I think that once he plays 10 games this season, gets his feet under him, I think that is when he's going to start taking off again. And I think that it needs to happen sooner rather than later, but I think that this benching will certainly help the situation. Now, I know there's a lot of people on this channel, in this community, who really support Pascal Siakam getting traded, and that's fine. I understand where you're coming from. If that's your opinion on the matter, that's completely okay, but you still need to support your guys. You still need to support the guys in the Raptors uniforms, especially when they're struggling like this. He knows he's struggling, but what he doesn't need to see is media backlash constantly. We need to support our guys and help them improve their game on the court to be the best players that they can possibly be on the court, because they're people as well. Obviously, they're athletes, but we need to humanize them as well. They need our support when they're out on the court. So when, you're talking about trades, whatever, that's fine. But you can't ask for the demise of a player on court just because it supports your agenda of getting him traded. Even if you want him traded, you should be asking for him to produce the best he possibly can on the court. Really push for that to happen. Support this guy. Now, obviously, little things from little channels like myself aren't going to cause really anything, but it's good for people to be out there vouching their support for Pascal Siakam, because that is what is going to help him improve. We have Pascal Siakam on this max contract for the next 4 years. He's just started his max contract. And the good news is Pascal Siakam is 26 years old. Like, everybody's talking about him being past it already. In my opinion, he hasn't even entered his prime yet. My personal view on the prime of a basketball player's ability is 27 to 30 years old. Now, sometimes if you're more reliant on your athletic abilities to be in your prime, maybe we can move that up to about 25 to 28 years old, which maybe Pascal Siakam fits under, but I think that since he's such a late bloomer in his basketballing ability, I think his prime is going to be 27 to 30 years old. So I think he hasn't even hit his prime as a basketball player yet he's already producing stuff to be on an all-NBA second team, to be the starter on one of the all-star teams. So people saying he's past it, like we've seen the best, I really don't think so. I really don't think that last season we saw the best we are ever going to see from Pascal Siakam. I think that he is going to improve, add new facets to his game to be better than he already is. Because 26 years old. He is 26 years old. That is not old at all for a basketball player. And he's got 4 years. It's going to take him to about 30 years old on his contract. That is a very nice age pocket for a max contract, because I think that max contract occupies the prime of his basketballing ability. So to say that there's no chance that he's going to improve his game better than he was last season is pretty ridiculous, because he isn't even in his prime yet. So the bottom line when it comes to Siakam is continue to support this guy, because there is a special amount of potential in this player based on what he can do at the rim and the fact that he's added a very nice three ball. 2 seasons ago, he was only shooting threes from the corner. Now he can shoot them from anywhere. 2 seasons ago, he wasn't pulling up from mid-range. Now he's able to do that. What he needs to get back is shooting on the interior, and also he needs to get to the line more often. And once those things start to fall into place, once the chemistry of this team starts to get sorted out, when the players start to gel even more, it is going to come even easier for Pascal Siakam. The coaching staff, the coach of the year, Nick Nurse, I think we have one of, if not the best coaching staffs as a whole in the entire league. Once they start sorting things out, I think that Pascal Siakam will continue to improve, but I'm not willing to count him out at this stage. When I see more of a sample size, then I'd be willing to comment on more about Pascal Siakam. But regardless of how I feel, regardless if I say he needs to be better, Pascal Siakam knows this, and what he needs is the utmost amount of support for Raptors fans to break out of this little slump that he's in. So let me know all of your thoughts and opinions on Pascal Siakam. Do you think we will never see a season better than we saw last year, that all-NBA second team season? Because only 26 years old, I'm sure we can see better from Pascal Siakam. But let me know all of your thoughts and opinions on this man, Spicy P, in the comments down below. But that wraps up for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, please like the video if you liked at any point, and subscribe to Amateur Hour Sports for more content just like this. Like I said, you're getting at least 4 NBA videos with a focus on the Toronto Raptors every single week. We'll likely have a video tomorrow rounding up the game against the New Orleans Pelicans happening tonight. I know we could have beaten them in that first game of the season, so I'm looking forward to seeing how we bounce back and how Pascal Siakam bounces back in this game. At the end of the day, I believe what I say. If you disagree, that is okay. We'll see you again next time for another video.